In the distant future, the vast expanse of the galaxy was controlled by the Galactic Council, an assembly of advanced alien species who managed countless planets, each with their own unique technologies and cultures. Earth, located on the outer rim of the galaxy, had always been considered insignificant by the galactic elite. It was a planet still in the early stages of technological development, its people unaware of the vast universe beyond their world. Yet, in the shadows of Earth's quiet progress, something extraordinary was taking place. Hidden deep within Earth's forgotten places were the remnants of ancient alien civilizations, their technologies buried and lost to time. Over the years, human scientists, driven by curiosity and the thirst for knowledge, began to uncover these ruins. At first, their discoveries seemed trivial, strange artifacts and mysterious symbols. But as the years passed, human ingenuity took over, and these strange technologies began to be understood, adapted, and integrated into Earth's systems. Quietly, almost unnoticed, Earth's technological capabilities began to advance. The quiet planet that had once been a mere footnote in the galactic history books was now quietly preparing to take its place among the stars. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's headquarters, discussions were taking place about the growing influence of various galactic powers. For centuries, the Council had ruled with a steady hand, maintaining order across the galaxy. But in recent decades, a number of galactic empires had begun to rise, challenging the Council's authority. It was during one of these tense meetings that Earth, previously regarded as a remote and irrelevant planet, began to surface as a topic of conversation. Council members, including the most powerful species in the galaxy, couldn't help but notice the faint signs of a shift in Earth's trajectory. While Earth's technological advancement seemed slow compared to the rest of the galaxy, there were rumors of strange occurrences, artifacts that couldn't be explained, mysterious energy readings emanating from the planet. The Council leaders discussed the possibility of integrating Earth into their empire. To the Council, integration was a polite term for domination, a way of bringing Earth under their control before its unknown potential became a threat. Their plan was simple: send an undercover team to Earth, infiltrate its governments, and subtly steer the planet's direction, ensuring that the human race would never rise beyond its intended place as a subjugated species. As the Council's covert operations began, few noticed the subtle movements beneath the surface of Earth's political and scientific communities. But while the Council's spies worked tirelessly to weave their web of control, they had underestimated one crucial factor: humanity itself. The people of Earth were not as naive as they appeared. Unbeknownst to the Galactic Council, the human race had been quietly preparing for this very moment, gathering knowledge from the ruins of alien civilizations, developing technologies in secret, and uniting across nations. As Earth's governments came together, the first whispers of something remarkable began to spread. The Council had thought Earth weak, easily controlled, just another planet to be absorbed into the greater galactic empire. They were wrong. Earth's quiet progress would soon turn into a force so powerful, so unpredictable, that the Galactic Council would be forced to face a harsh new reality. Earth was not the backwater planet they had assumed it to be. The storm was coming, and the galaxy had no idea just how much power Earth had quietly amassed. When the time was right, Earth would not submit to the Council's rule. Instead, the Council would be stunned by a counterattack so ruthless that it would change the course of galactic history forever. As the Council continued to underestimate Earth's growing power, the planet was preparing to reveal its true potential, an unexpected force that would leave the entire galaxy in shock. The quiet before the storm had ended, and the first signs of Earth's ruthless counterattack were about to unfold. In a secluded underground lab, hidden deep within the mountains of Earth, a group of brilliant human scientists worked tirelessly. Led by the determined Dr. Valerie Hall, they had unlocked a secret that could change everything. For years, Earth's governments had been aware of the mysterious alien ruins scattered across the planet, but no one had fully understood their potential until now. Dr. Hall's team, a group of elite engineers and researchers, had managed to decipher the complex designs of the ancient technologies buried beneath Earth's surface. They had discovered powerful devices that could bend space itself, manipulate gravity, and even interfere with the flow of time. These discoveries were more than just revolutionary. They were the key to Earth's survival. With this new knowledge, they had crafted weapons, tools, and machines that could rival even the most advanced technologies in the galaxy. The most striking of all was a newly designed weapon, a masterpiece of human engineering powered by alien technology. It had the ability to disable entire fleets of ships, rendering them useless in the blink of an eye. The weapon was unlike anything seen before, sleek, deadly, and deceptively simple, yet capable of unimaginable destruction. The world's governments, now fully aware of the potential of these newfound technologies, called for an emergency summit. Representatives from every corner of Earth gathered, united by a singular purpose: to prepare for the inevitable invasion from the Galactic Council. They knew the time had come to strike, but they also understood that one mistake could be catastrophic. The Council, with its powerful fleets and unyielding control over countless planets, had never considered Earth a serious threat. But with this new power in their hands, humanity could now challenge the Council on equal terms. As the secret meeting unfolded, the leaders of Earth debated how best to use the technology. There was no question that they had to act before the Council's invasion began. The stakes were too high. If they waited, Earth would be overwhelmed by the might of the Galactic Council. The decision was made. Humanity would launch a counterattack, but it had to be done with precision and caution. They knew the Galactic Council would never expect a coordinated defense from a species they had long underestimated. Earth's first ever unified military command was formed, a collaboration of the planet's best military minds, scientists, and engineers. The goal was clear: strike swiftly and decisively, but with complete surprise. They would use the new technology to their advantage, catching the Galactic Council off guard, leaving them no time to react. Dr. Hall, now leading the charge, worked around the clock with her team to fine-tune the weapons. The new technology was incredibly powerful, but it was also untested on such a large scale. There were risks. No one could be sure how it would perform against the advanced ships and weaponry of the Galactic Council. But Dr. Hall and her team were determined to see it through. They knew that humanity's future depended on their success. As the days passed, the pressure mounted. Earth's military began to mobilize, preparing the fleets, fortifying cities, and preparing civilians for what might come. But even with all the preparation, there was a sense of vulnerability. Despite the new weapons and the unified military command, Earth was still a relatively small planet in the grand scheme of the galaxy. The Galactic Council had thousands of ships, elite soldiers, and technology that far surpassed anything Earth had ever known. Every human on the planet understood the risk. If their plan failed, there would be no second chance. Earth would fall, and humanity would be wiped from existence. Dr. Hall couldn't shake the feeling that the odds were stacked against them. But one thing was certain: Earth's time had come. As the final preparations were made, a sense of anticipation swept across the planet. The governments of Earth, once divided and fragmented, were now united in a common cause. They had no choice but to move forward. The Galactic Council was coming, and Earth's counterattack had to be launched at the perfect moment. Every move had to be calculated. Every step had to be precise. Humanity's survival depended on the success of this daring plan. It was the calm before the storm, and the entire galaxy was about to witness the wrath of a planet that had long been underestimated. The Galactic Council, in its arrogance, believed it had already won. Earth, a tiny, unremarkable planet in the far corner of the galaxy, was no more than a stepping stone in their grand plan to expand their empire. They had underestimated humanity, thinking it would be an easy conquest. With confidence in their overwhelming superiority, the Council dispatched its most advanced fleet of warships to Earth. This fleet, a formidable force of heavily armed ships, equipped with technology centuries ahead of anything Earth had ever seen, was poised to crush the planet's defenses with ease. As they arrived at Earth's orbit, the fleet prepared to deploy its forces on the surface, confident that the humans would offer little resistance. However, they were in for a shocking surprise. Earth's military, under the guidance of Dr. Valerie Hall and her team of scientists, had been preparing for this very moment. Armed with alien-enhanced technology, the human forces had been secretly building defenses that the Council had never imagined. As the fleet deployed its troops to land, Earth's forces launched their first strike, catching the Council completely off guard. The first wave of attack came not from soldiers, but from the very ships the Galactic Council had sent to invade. The humans had developed weapons capable of manipulating gravity, turning the Council's ships into helpless targets. Large, imposing vessels, ones that should have been indestructible, were suddenly tossed around like fragile toys. Ships that should have been grounded to Earth's gravity were now floating aimlessly, their engines torn apart by invisible forces. The Galactic Council's fleet, used to effortlessly destroying entire planets, was now powerless in the face of Earth's unexpected defense. The human-made weapons, powered by ancient alien technology, defied all logic. The laser fire from the Council's ships, which would have obliterated most defenses in an instant, now became twisted and useless. Earth's advanced shields bent the light and energy, making the attacks appear to vanish into thin air, while the planet's newly created gravity-based weapons distorted the very space around the invading fleet. The first battle unfolded like a surreal nightmare for the Council. The vast, powerful armada they had sent to invade Earth was being shredded by weapons they couldn't comprehend. Their advanced fleets, which had once been feared across the galaxy, were no match for humanity's newfound strength. As the battle raged on, the invading forces scrambled to regroup, but their efforts were futile. They found themselves retreating, leaving behind what was left of their ships, stunned by the unexpected turn of events. The Galactic Council had never once considered Earth a serious threat, yet now they were retreating in shame, beaten by a planet they had written off as insignificant. Earth, once seen as a fragile, defenseless world, had shown its true strength. The Council had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt, to innovate, and to rise to the occasion. This was not the same Earth they had imagined, a weak planet ripe for the taking. Earth had fought back with a power that no one could have predicted, leaving the Galactic Council in disarray. The first strike had been a victory, but Earth knew this was just the beginning. The battle had proven something to both sides. Humanity was no longer the underdog. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. Now, the real fight was about to begin. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity's resilience and its will to survive. And as Earth's forces prepared for what came next, the entire galaxy would soon learn that Earth's ruthlessness was only just beginning. After the stunning victory, the atmosphere on Earth was electric. The planet, which had long been dismissed as insignificant by the rest of the galaxy, had proven that it was far from powerless. The sound of humanity's triumph echoed across the planet as celebrations erupted in every city, but the true test of their resolve was about to begin. Dr. Valerie Hall, the brilliant scientist and leader of Earth's unified forces, stepped forward to address the galaxy. Standing before a massive audience of Earth's leaders and broadcast to every corner of space, Dr. Hall's voice carried a weight that transcended mere words. "We are no longer the prey, but the hunters," she declared. The message was simple, yet its impact reverberated through the galaxy with the force of a supernova. Earth had not just survived the Galactic Council's invasion, it had driven them back, sending the Council's most powerful fleets retreating in defeat. The message was not only a declaration of Earth's strength, but a warning to anyone who might seek to underestimate the planet again. As Dr. Hall finished speaking, the room fell into a tense silence. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council was forced to reckon with a reality they had never imagined. The species they had long considered primitive, a mere footnote, in the vast history of the galaxy, had turned the tables and become an unstoppable force. The Council's leadership, which had always viewed Earth as weak and inconsequential, was now thrown into chaos. The Council's chambers buzzed with disbelief as reports of the retreating fleet poured in. The invasion, once thought to be a sure victory, had been a crushing failure. The humans, far from the weaklings the Council had expected, had taken their first steps toward becoming a dominant power. The reaction within the Galactic Council was one of shock and panic. Some factions saw Earth's resolve as a warning sign, a signal that this tiny, insignificant planet was now a force to be reckoned with. To them, Earth was no longer just a target. It was a challenge. An empire that had once stood unchallenged, for centuries now faced a new threat, one that had the potential to disrupt the delicate balance of power across the galaxy. Other factions, however, dismissed the human victory as a fluke, a one-time occurrence that would not be repeated. They reasoned that the Council's fleets had been caught off guard, and that a more coordinated response would surely eliminate any future resistance. But the more they discussed, the more they began to doubt their own assumptions. Earth's power was undeniable, and its willingness to fight back with such ferocity raised uncomfortable questions. Could humanity's new weapons, powered by alien technology, truly be as unstoppable as they seemed? Or had Earth simply discovered a single powerful advantage that could be neutralized with the right strategy? The uncertainty among the Council's leadership only grew as factions began to argue over how to respond. Some called for a swift and overwhelming retaliation, while others urged caution, fearing that another attack might only spark an even greater conflict. What became clear, however, was that Earth was no longer the weak planet it once was. The humans had not just defended themselves, they had fought back with an unrelenting determination that the Council had never seen before. Earth was no longer a place to be exploited or controlled. It was now a powerful player in the galactic stage. News of Earth's victory spread quickly throughout the galaxy, reaching even the farthest corners where the Galactic Council's influence had never reached. Other empires and factions took notice of humanity's newfound strength, and many began to reconsider their own attitudes toward Earth. Some, inspired by the human resolve, sought to form alliances with Earth, eager to share in its technological advances. Others, however, watched with suspicion, wondering if Earth's defiance was a sign of things to come. The Galactic Council had always prided itself on its unshakable authority, but now it found itself facing a future it could not control. Earth had revealed its hidden power, and the Council had no idea what to expect next. One thing was certain: humanity was no longer just a footnote in the galaxy's history. They had rewritten the story, and the future of the galaxy would be forever changed by the revelation of the human will. And just when the Galactic Council thought they had gained the upper hand, humanity unveiled a new weapon, one that would change the tide of the war. It was a device so advanced that it seemed like a force of nature itself, a machine capable of bending the very fabric of space-time. When Earth's forces deployed this weapon against the Council's fleet, it unleashed a power that none of their intelligence had predicted. One by one, the Council's ships began to disappear, hurled through alternate dimensions, lost in realms of existence they could not comprehend. The once great invasion force was reduced to a disordered mess, as entire fleets were scattered, beyond the reach of the Galactic Council's command. The fabric of reality itself had been disrupted, and with it, any hope of an easy victory for the invaders. The Galactic Council, in a state of complete disarray, was left scrambling for a counterattack. Their once vaunted warships, so advanced they were thought to be invincible, were now helpless. With their fleet in chaos, the Council found itself caught off guard, completely unprepared for the next phase of the battle. In their rush to conquer Earth, they had made a grave mistake, underestimating humanity's ability to innovate and adapt under pressure. As the Council regrouped, Earth's forces, fueled by the momentum of their unexpected success, began launching counteroffensive strikes across the galaxy. What had once seemed like a desperate fight for survival now turned into a series of calculated attacks against the heart of the Council's empire. No longer on the defensive, humanity struck at key worlds within the Galactic Council's domain. The oppressed species who had lived under the Council's thumb for generations saw the shift in power and took notice. News of Earth's victories spread like wildfire, sparking revolutions on planets far and wide. For the first time in centuries, the suppressed races of the galaxy dared to rise up against their alien overlords. The Galactic Council, which had always ruled with an iron fist, was now faced with an uprising that threatened its very foundation. This was no longer just a fight between two opposing forces. It had become a galactic struggle, one in which humanity was proving to be the spark that ignited the fire of rebellion. The news of Earth's unexpected triumphs echoed throughout the galaxy. Systems that had long been subjugated by the Council's ruthless control now looked to Earth as a symbol of hope, a beacon for those who had been forced into silence. The idea that a planet once deemed insignificant could bring down the mighty Galactic Council sent shockwaves through the Empire. Oppressed species rallied behind Earth's flag, eager to fight for their freedom, while the once untouchable Council scrambled to regain control. The unity within the Galactic Council began to fracture, as factions within the leadership argued over how to respond to Earth's success. Some demanded an immediate retaliation, desperate to crush this growing rebellion before it could spread any further. Others, more cautious, realized that Earth's growing influence could not be dismissed so easily. The very fabric of the Council's power was beginning to unravel, and with it, their vision of galactic domination. For the first time, the Galactic Council was forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. They had underestimated humanity. The creatures they had written off as primitive were now reshaping the balance of power across the galaxy. Earth's victory, though still fragile, had proven that even the most powerful forces in the universe could be challenged. The tide of the war had shifted, and the Galactic Council now found itself facing the full force of humanity's will to be free. The battle was far from over, but one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council, once the uncontested ruler of the galaxy, now found itself cornered, unable to maintain its dominance in the face of humanity's unexpected might. Their fleets, once thought invincible, had been shattered by Earth's ingenuity and relentless spirit. The invasion had failed, and the rebellion ignited across the galaxy continued to spread like wildfire. The Council, in its arrogance, had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. With each passing day, their grip on power loosened further. After months of brutal conflict, with no clear path to victory and the risk of losing everything they had built, the Galactic Council was forced to face an undeniable truth. They could not defeat humanity without suffering catastrophic losses. For the first time, the leaders of the Council were backed into a corner, facing a species that had risen from the ashes of their initial failures to become an unstoppable force. In a desperate bid to preserve what little power they had left, the Galactic Council made a decision that would forever alter the course of galactic history. They initiated a ceasefire. The humans, however, were not interested in simple peace. They had fought for their freedom and now demanded that their terms be met. Earth would not settle for anything less than full recognition of its sovereignty. The humans, with Dr. Valerie Hall as their spokesperson, broadcasted a message across the galaxy that reverberated through every star system. Earth would no longer be a subjugated world, a mere pawn in the Council's vast empire. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, and if the Galactic Council wanted peace, it would have to accept Earth as an equal. Earth's terms were clear. Humanity would join the Galactic Council, but on their own terms. No longer would Earth be a silent, insignificant planet to be ignored or controlled. They would now sit at the table of galactic power as full members, equal to the once mighty empire that had sought to dominate them. This demand, simple yet revolutionary, sent shockwaves across the galaxy. The Galactic Council, humbled and facing the reality of their failure, had no choice but to comply. For the first time in their history, they were forced to admit their weakness. The once immense empire, which had believed itself to be the pinnacle of power and authority, had been brought to its knees by a species they had once dismissed as primitive. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the Council, unable to continue the fight, agreed to Earth's terms. The admission of defeat was a monumental moment, a moment that would echo through the annals of galactic history. As Earth's sovereignty was recognized, the entire galaxy felt the shift in the balance of power. No longer would the Galactic Council control the destiny of countless worlds. Earth had proven that with ingenuity, resilience, and the unyielding will to fight for their future, even the most powerful forces in the universe could be challenged. With the ceasefire in place, Earth celebrated its newfound status among the stars. Humanity had not only survived the invasion, but it had reshaped the future of the galaxy. The once quiet, overlooked planet had become a force that commanded respect and admiration. As Earth took its seat at the table, its people looked to the stars with a renewed sense of purpose. The galaxy was no longer a distant, unknowable expanse. It was a place where humanity would carve its own path, free from the shadow of domination. The story of Earth's rise from a humble backwater world to a powerful force in the galaxy would be told for generations to come, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of ingenuity. The Galactic Council, once the dominant power, had been humbled by the very species they had tried to conquer. And as the stars twinkled above Earth's atmosphere, humanity knew that their journey was only just beginning. They had proven to the galaxy, and to themselves, that no matter how many galaxies stood between them, the willpower and ingenuity of humanity were forces that could never be contained. The Galactic Council, shaken by Earth's unexpected victory, knew that it could not allow such defiance to stand. The idea that a planet as insignificant as Earth could not only repel but defeat their advanced fleets was an insult to the Council's pride. They had underestimated humanity once, but they would not make that mistake again. With overwhelming force, the Council gathered its mightiest warships, including vessels equipped with technology capable of generating black holes, tools of destruction so powerful they could swallow entire planets whole. Alongside these devastating ships, the Council brought in their elite soldiers, genetically engineered for maximum efficiency and ruthlessness, trained to crush any resistance with swift and merciless precision. The invasion force was colossal, far larger than anything humanity had faced before. Earth's forces, still recovering from their first victory, now faced an enemy that outnumbered them and outgunned them in every conceivable way. The Council's fleet moved toward Earth with terrifying speed, and humanity braced for the worst. The first wave of the invasion struck with brutal force. Entire cities fell to the might of the black hole generators, which sucked the very atmosphere into nothingness, leaving behind only desolation. The skies darkened as the Council's ships unleashed their devastating weapons, and Earth's military, though bolstered by the alien technology they had recently acquired, was pushed to its absolute limits. For a time, it seemed as though nothing could stop the relentless advance of the Council's forces. The humans fought valiantly, but their numbers were too small, their resources too limited. Despair began to set in, and for the first time since the invasion began, it seemed as though Earth's resistance might crumble. But in the darkest hour, when all hope seemed lost, humanity revealed a secret they had kept hidden, one that would change the course of the battle. Deep within the Earth's most secure facility, buried beneath layers of protection and secrecy, Dr. Valerie Hall and her team of engineers had been working on a project unlike any the galaxy had seen before. Hidden away from the prying eyes of the Galactic Council, humanity had uncovered and restored a long-forgotten relic of the ancient alien civilizations, a warship unlike anything seen in the galaxy. This was no ordinary vessel. It had once been the pride of a now-extinct species, a marvel of technology that combined the most advanced alien designs with Earth's own ingenuity. Powered by a fusion of alien and human technology, the ship was capable of feats that defied the laws of physics. When Earth's forces activated the warship and deployed it into battle, the tide of the invasion began to turn. The sheer power of the ship was unmatched. Its weapons could tear apart the Council's black hole generators, and its shields were impenetrable to anything the Galactic fleet could throw at it. As the warship engaged the enemy, the Council's forces faltered. The invincible fleet that had once seemed unstoppable was now on the defensive, scrambling to counter a threat they could not comprehend. Earth's military, emboldened by this new weapon, rallied behind the warship, and together they pushed back against the invaders. The battle was far from over, but the Galactic Council had been dealt a blow they had never expected. The tide of war had shifted, and for the first time, it was the Council who was on the retreat. Earth, with its new weapon and unwavering resolve, had once again defied the odds. The Galactic Council's plan to crush humanity had failed, but the victory came at a cost. As the battle raged on, the Council's desperation grew. They had underestimated Earth before, and now they were beginning to realize that humanity would never be easily defeated. The galaxy had never seen a species like this, one that could not only survive against overwhelming odds, but thrive. The revelation of Earth's secret weapon was just the beginning. The war was far from over, and the Galactic Council had to face the uncomfortable truth. Humanity was no longer a mere footnote in galactic history. It was a force to be reckoned with, and the Council would have to rethink its entire strategy if it hoped to subdue Earth once and for all. The Galactic Council's invasion, which had seemed inevitable just days earlier, was now unraveling in front of their eyes. Earth's unexpected resistance, fueled by alien technologies and an indomitable will to survive, had thrown the Council's once mighty forces into disarray. The humans, who had previously been dismissed as primitive, had proven that they were far from defenseless. Their knowledge of ancient alien technology, coupled with their creativity and sheer determination, had given them a tactical advantage that no one had anticipated. Earth's military, now equipped with weapons that could manipulate the very fabric of space, began dismantling the Council's invasion one ship at a time. The turning point came in a maneuver so shocking it left the Galactic Council's fleet in chaos. Earth's forces had developed a weapon that could disrupt space-time itself, a device so powerful that it sent the Council's ships hurtling through alternate dimensions. One moment, the Council's warships were advancing on Earth, and the next, they were lost, flung into unknown realms of existence, their communications cut off and their positions rendered useless. The weapon had done what no one thought possible. It had completely disrupted the Council's ability to coordinate its forces. With their fleet in disarray, the once unbeatable galactic forces found themselves scrambling for a way to regain control. Yet the more they tried to recover, the more they realized just how deeply they had underestimated humanity. Every attempt to regroup was thwarted by Earth's relentless drive to innovate under pressure. As the Council's military floundered, Earth's forces began launching counteroffensive strikes across multiple planets within the Galactic Council's domain. No longer on the defensive, humanity took the fight to the heart of the Council's empire, attacking key strategic locations and destabilizing the galactic power structures. The news of these victories spread rapidly through the galaxy, igniting a fire of rebellion among the oppressed species under the Council's control. Planets that had long lived in fear of the Council's dominance now found themselves inspired by humanity's courage. The once imposing Galactic Council began to lose its grip on power as uprisings broke out across its territories. The oppressed races, who had endured generations of subjugation, seized the opportunity to rise up against their alien overlords. The Council's perfect order was crumbling, and they had no one but themselves to blame. The Council's leaders, who had once seen themselves as invincible, now found themselves facing an uprising they could not quell. Their once great empire was being torn apart by a species they had thought would be crushed without a second thought. Earth's counteroffensive had done more than just push back the invaders. It had shattered the illusion of invulnerability that had held the Council together for so long. Now, fear and uncertainty gripped the Council's leadership. Earth's victories were more than just military triumphs. They were symbols of resistance, hope, and defiance. The galaxy had never seen a species like humanity, one that, when pushed to the brink, could rise up and challenge the very foundations of the status quo. The Council, now reeling from the unexpected onslaught, scrambled to regroup, but it was clear they were no longer in control. Every victory on Earth's side strengthened the resolve of those who had once been silent, oppressed by the Galactic Council's iron fist. The wave of rebellion was unstoppable. The Council's forces, once a unified front of superior technology and ruthless efficiency, were now fractured and vulnerable. What had begun as an invasion of Earth had become a galactic war, one in which humanity was no longer the underdog, but a force that could shape the future of the galaxy. The Galactic Council, once the dominant power, now faced the unthinkable. The very species they had dismissed as weak was on the verge of overturning their empire. The turning point had come, and the fate of the galaxy would be forever changed by humanity's refusal to bow down. The Galactic Council, once confident in its overwhelming superiority, found itself thrown into chaos as Earth's forces fought, back with a ferocity they had never anticipated. The humans, fueled by their newfound understanding of alien technology and their relentless determination, began systematically dismantling the invasion. What began as an unlikely resistance had turned into a carefully calculated series of strikes that destabilized the once mighty Council's forces.